tape right now because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden is the best Biden ever.
I want to show you. Did I tell you the story? I went to see Chris Angel, Mind Freak, Kurt.
No, you didn't tell me.
In Vegas. So he does great magic. He should just do magic and let that build to a crescendo. But he stops every 10 minutes and turns all the house lights up and he gives you a speech.
Oh,
it's horrible.
I mean, he doesn't. Oh my God! Is it about putting on a watch on the outside of your sleeve?
No, the first speech is about how he started doing magic as a kid, and now he sells these magic kits. So he's doing an infomercial. He sells.
What am I on a plane?
Yeah,
you sell me a credit card, a Chris Angel MasterCard.
That's right. Right. Why don't you come out with your own credit card? So that, and the second part is about how he does all this charity work.
Shut up!
And I'm not
Chris
kidding.
Angel.
And it's just he keeps doing that, and then after every trick he stops and makes you scream and get up and yell, so he'll do another trick. It's the worst
What are you,
thing.
Tony Robbins now?
It's like that. And so as I'm leaving, I'm on the escalator down, and I'm telling my friend Mark that my critique, like he should do this and he did that, and it wasn't. And some guy who's like a Chris Angel defender gets on the escalator with me, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you didn't like it, huh? Well, how do you think he did this trick?" And he said some trick,
Oh, I thought he was going to say, because I just bought all of his merchandise.
And I said,
how did he do that trick?
He goes, "Yeah, really? Well, how do you think he did that trick?" He's kind of like getting in my face. And I go, "Well, I hope it was magic." And then the guy backed off and we exited without incident.
I hope it was Dark Forces.
So I just want to show you this. They had this thing called White Women did a Zoom for Kamala.
The fundraiser.
You're not going to believe this. So as white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. This is what former teacher turned influencer. That's who she is. Former teacher turned influencer infantilizes the white women for Kamala Harris and suggests that white women should never correct black women. You think I'm kidding? Watch this.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season.
First of all, the way she ends this election season, like she's 13 years old.
A constant question.
Did she stop teaching? What grade was it? Was it a PhD course at probably a university?
So she says,
32-year-olds I teach?
She says BIPOC. Now that stands for, what does that stand for again?
Black Indigenous People of Color.
Black Indigenous People of Color. Okay. All right.
I can correct you as a woman.
Here we go.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a real.
What does that mean? BIPOC women have topped us in? Is that what she said?
Tapped us in.
Tapped?
The BIPOC women, the Black and Indigenous women of America. Because of Kamala, it's an emergency. We got to get Kamala in. They've tapped in the white women. We didn't want to come to you, white women, but now it's time to come together.
Okay.
And I'm shaking. I'm shaking because I'm so lucky to be around so many cat mamalas.
Here we go.
Childless cat mamalas.
Does this make you proud to be a woman?
I'm really excited to watch more of this because it's so fun that women can sound so dumb and ill-informed. I mean, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, really, do we have to separate our culture even further.
Are you a BIPOC?
I'm not.
You're a person of color.
I'm a person of color.
You're
so
indigenous.
I'm a person of color, so I'm a POC.
You're an IPOC.
No, you're a BIPOC. That's better.
I own it. The white girl in the room just told me to own it. Thank you, Misha.
I just realized that Drew Barrymore actually has a lot of dignity.
So, Misha, this makes you proud to be a woman, doesn't it? A white woman. Yes. Here we go.
Important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too.
Oh, no.
So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat.
God forbid.
If you find so there is nothing, I think that is one of the most racist, infantilizing things I've heard in quite a while. If you find yourself talking over or, God forbid, correcting a black, indigenous person of color, stop.
Just take a beat, Jimmy. Please, take a beat. You're about to correct.
Why are they?
BIPOC.
Are black, indigenous people of color so fragile that if you disagree with them or think they have something wrong and you tell them, they're going to crumble? Are they that fragile? Are you infantilizing them?
Right.
What's that?
They're always that right.
And then
I want you to take the space in your heart for Jesus and replace it with BIPOC women.
So this is the same.
And think of them that way.
This is the same thing people do with gay people, right? That gay people are somehow just inherently better people and more moral because they have sex with
because they can't find the right hole. Yeah, that's right. She sounds like the toxicity coming from them. I thought she was going to say once a month when they get their pyramid.
So let's listen.
If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat.
God forbid correcting. So I'm not Misha. You're never allowed to correct. God forbid you correct Steph, even if she's wrong.
I don't let her, and I definitely don't let Misha talk over me.
Ever.
God
forbid.
Yeah.
If you're at Starbucks and they write your name Miska, God forbid.
So when I'm watching this, so then she just automatically she judges the person by the color of their skin.
Yes.
Where have you guys been that you don't know this is how it's supposed to work? Now, by the way, everyone's over this in a big way. That's what I'm saying. And I hate Trump going at stupid identity shit. But this nonsense she's saying, me and Kyle do those pussies characters. And I almost feel like it's a stale thing because people are way over it. None of these people seem to be aware of that. They all are like, we're on the same page, that you literally don't even correct.
God forbid.
BIPOC, queer of color. Like, they still think like that.
So let me play it again.
She doesn't have 1.5 million followers, by the way. There's no way.
Over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
Aerial Kodar, affectionately known as...
I would say you are probably legally blind. That's how bad your blind spots are.
Can I say, Jimmy, and I want you to put on your listening ears for this. Take off your deaf ears and put on your listening ears.
Put on your listening ears.
Because I happen to be wearing my correcting a dingbat mouth right now. They keep calling your rights your privileges. the right to campaign for whoever you want, even a moron like Kamala, that's not your privilege. As any lady, a white lady or otherwise, this thing where they keep calling your basic rights, like saying what free speech, name it, it's a right. It's not a privilege. And they have spent 10 years trying to reframe stuff you're just supposed to get from being here as a privilege. And it's like this subtle thing they do, and only morons go for it. There's no way 1.5 million people organically follow this idiot. There's just not a chance in hell. I promise you, those are bought followers. This is another kind of politics girl, Midas touch bullshit thing. There's no way she's that popular in real life.
I'm gonna play that through one more time without stopping and just see if you can absorb it.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
What does that mean, Mrs. Frazzle?
I think
Mrs. Frazzle. She's frazzled from all the teaching she did of kindergarten.
Oh, okay.
And she later left that job to become an influencer. Don't believe it. Okay, no teacher has that much influence. Number one, people don't respect.
Kurt,
teachers
we are
like
all
that.
influencers. You all can influence on, and you're also responsible for your own algorithm.
Yeah, but Miss Fraz. Oh, I'm so frazzled. There's like that cartoon strip, Kathy, where she's like, act. Like her whole thing is that personality.
Okay.
But you see Megan Rapinoe, the other unpopular soccer player, like all these kind of people and this whole DEI bullshit, it's very unpopular now. And the last of the people that think it's still a thing are in major cities or people that read The Atlantic. I don't believe that's 1.5 million people for 2 seconds. Even if you're like that, you're not going to watch this dingbat.
Okay, let's watch.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am like shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. Yeah. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too. What? So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
That's a lot to get
You're
through.
lucky I don't have my pimp hand on.
That's a lot to get through. That there's.
I was always against pimps until you hear this for a while, and a BIPOC man with his pimp hand on could fix this real quick. And she couldn't correct him. She wouldn't be allowed to correct him.
I gotta find a video. Hang on. Go.
Why did we move from California to Alaska? For starters, they shut down my dad's miniature tractor business because it wasn't EPA compliant or electric. Secondly, you have to smog every vehicle built after 1975. In California, this truck was $1,200 a year to register. Here it's $100 for lifetime tags. You couldn't take an ATV anywhere because every trail was closed off due to public safety. This sawmill, they wanted 1 million board feet worth of taxes for operating. And you can't use any of the lumber for anything structural. And finally, to build our cabin, it would have required 50 times more than we have in the materials of the cabin to get the permits to build it. Why did we move from California to Alaska?
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit
Isn't it swell? The memes make themselves. They found a rabbi hole, tunnels and all. There's Jews in the walls. Isn't it bliss? The rabbinical grace soiling the mattresses. Well, let me tell you. If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison. But they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators. And they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running this system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just move babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.